Chapter 10 of No Clue. This LibriVox recording is in the public domain. Recording by Roger Moline. No Clue by James Hay. Chapter 10. The Whispered Conference. Dr. Garnet, reaching Sloanehurst half an hour later, found Webster in complete collapse. He declared that for at least several days the sick man must be kept quiet. He could not be moved to his apartment in Washington, nor could he be subjected to questioning about anything. "That is," he explained, "for 3 or 4 days, possibly longer. He's critically ill. But for my knowledge of the terrific shock he sustained as a result of the murder, I'd be inclined to say he'd broken down after a long, steady, nervous strain. I'll have a nurse out to look after him. Miss Sloane has volunteered, but she has troubles of her own." Judge Wilton took the news to Hastings, who was on the front porch, whittling, waiting to see Lucille before returning to Washington. "I think Garnet's right," Wilton added. "I thought, even before last night, Berne acted as if he'd been worn out. And you handled him rather roughly. That sort of questioning, tantalizing, keeping a man on tenterhooks, knocks the mettle out of a high-strung temperament like his. I don't mind telling you it had me pretty well worked up." "I'm sorry it knocked him out," Hastings said. "All I wanted was the facts. He wasn't frank with me." "I came out here to talk about that," Wilton retorted, brusquely. "You're all wrong there, Hastings. The boy's broken all to pieces. He sees clearly, too clearly, the weight of suspicion against him. You've mistaken his panic for hostility toward yourself." The old man was unconvinced, and showed it. "Suspicion doesn't usually knock a man into a cocked hat, unless there's something to base it on," he contended. "All right, I give up," Wilton said with a short laugh. "All I know is, he came to me before we saw you in the music room, and told me he wanted me to be there, to see that he omitted not even a detail of what he knew." Hastings, looking up from the intricate pattern he was carving, challenged the judge. "Has it occurred to you that, if he's not guilty, he might suspect somebody else in this house, might be trying to shield that person?" In the inconsiderable pause that followed, Wilton's lips, parting for an incredulous smile, showed the top of his tongue against his teeth, as if set for pronunciation of the letter S. Hastings, in a mental flash, saw him on the point of exclaiming "Sloane." But, if that was in his mind, he put it down, elaborating the smile to a laughing protest. "That's going far afield, isn't it?" Hastings smiled in return. "Maybe so, but it's a possibility, and possibilities have to be dealt with." "Which reminds me," the judge said, now all amiability. "Don't forget I'm always at your service in this affair. I see now that you might have preferred to question Webster alone, in the music room, but my confidence in his innocence blinded me to the fact that you could regard him as actually guilty. I expected nothing but a friendly conference, not a fierce cross-examination." "It didn't matter at all," Hastings matched Wilton's cordial tone. "And I appreciate your offer, Judge. Suppose you tell me anything that occurs to you, anything that will throw light on this case, any time, and I'll act as go-between for you with the authorities, if necessary." "You mean—" "I'd like to do the talking for this family and its friends. I can work better if I can handle things myself. The half of my job is to save the Sloanes from as many wild rumors as I can." Wilton nodded approval. "How about Arthur? You want me to take any questions to him for you?" "No, thanks. But," Hastings added, "you might make him see the necessity of telling me what he saw last night. If he doesn't come out with it, he'll make it all the harder on Webster. I don't think he saw anything. Didn't he? Why'd he refuse to testify before the coroner, then? Sheriff Crown's car came whirling up the driveway, and Hastings spoke hurriedly. "You know he's not as sick as he makes out. He's got to tell me what he knows, Judge. He's holding back something. That's why he wants to make me so mad I'll quit the case. Who's he shielding? That's what people will want to know." Wilton pondered that. "I'll see what I can do," he finally agreed. "According to you, it may appear, people may suspect, that Webster's guilty or shielding somebody else, and Arthur's guilty or shielding Webster." When Mr. Crown reached the porch, they were discussing Webster's condition, and Hastings, with the aid of the judge's penknife, was tightening a screw in his big Barlow-esque blade. They were careful to say nothing that might arouse the sheriff's suspicion of their compact, an agreement whereby a private detective, and not the law's representative, was to have the benefit of all the judge's information bearing on the murder. Mr. Crown, however, was dissatisfied. "I'm tied up," he complained, nursing with forefinger and thumb his knuckle-like chin. "The only place I can get information is at the wrong end, Russell." "What's the matter with me?" the detective asked amiably. "I'll be glad to help, if you think I can." "What good's that to me?" He wore his best politician smile, but there was resentment in his voice. "Your job is keeping things quiet, for Sloanehurst. Mr. Sloane's ill, too ill to see me without endangering his life, so his funeral-faced valet tells me. Miss Lucille says, politely enough, she's told all she knows, told it on the stand, and I'm to go to you if I want anything more from her. The judge here knows nothing about the inside relationships of the family and Webster, or of Webster and the Brace girl. And Webster's down and out, thoroughly and conveniently. If all that don't catch your Uncle Robert where the hair's short, I'll quit." "What do you want to know?" Hastings countered. "You've had access to everything, far as I can see." Reply to that was delayed by the appearance of Jarvis, summoning the judge to Arthur Sloane's room. "I want to get at Webster," Crown told Hastings. "And here's why. If Russell didn't kill her, Webster did." "Why, you've weakened." The old man guyed head bent over his whittling. "You had Russell's goose cooked this morning, roasted to a rich dark brown." "Yes, and if I could break down his alibi, I'd still have him cooked." "You accept the alibi, then?" "Sure I accept it." "I don't." "Why don't you?" objected Crown. "He didn't have an airplane in his hip pocket, did he? That's the only way he could have covered those 4 miles in 15 minutes. Or does his alibi have to fall in order to save Miss Sloane's fiancé?" He slapped his thigh and thrust out his bristly mustache. "You're paid to fasten the thing on Russell," he said, clearly pugnacious. "I don't expect you to help me work against Webster. I'm not that simple." The old man, with a gesture no more arresting than to point at the sheriff with the piece of wood in his left hand, made the official jaw drop almost to the official chest. "Mr. Crown," he said, "get this, once and for all. A man ain't necessarily a crook because he's once worked for the government. I'm as anxious to find the guilty man now, every time, as when I was in the Department of Justice. And I intend to. From now on, you'll give me credit for that, won't you, Mr. Sheriff?" Crown apologized. "I'm worried, that's what. I'm up a gum stump and can't get down." "All right, but don't try to make a ladder out of me. Why don't you look into that alibi?" Crown was irritated again.